Hi, Gwen. So happy to have you on Get Real and Own Person podcast. For everyone listening, I'm Meaghan Moraes-Garzon, and I'm so excited to speak to an old colleague and friend and the co-founder and COO of Fabrik, Gwen Wiscount. Thank you so much. Hi. Would you want to just say a quick intro and summary of what you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's been Megan and I were just catching up, and it was like just it's such a fun opportunity to just like talk to you at like this stage of our life. It's almost like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, however long it was, we were building another company together. So it's kind of fun that I'm in a different chapter, you're a different chapter, and it's an opportunity for us to reconnect again. So thank you again for having me
Definitely.
on. As you mentioned, I am the co-founder and COO of a company called Fabrik. We started the company back in 2023, and it really was to solve essentially two problems that we identified in the marketplace, which was on one side of the coin, 60% of commercial real estate is sitting vacant, whether it's underutilized, so folks have leases, but they're not activating them, they're no longer in office, or they're just vacant. And then, so if you think about like the city and the cities that we operate in, think of Boston. It was like a dead zone. There was nothing going on. You could get parking on in Back Bay.
Yeah.
Um, right after the pandemic, like that doesn't happen. And obviously we have since come back. But and then the other side of the coin, what we saw is that in 2023, the Surgeon General at the time put out a warning around we are in a global epidemic of loneliness. So we
Yes.
thought, okay, there's two big problems happening right now. There's 60% of real estate sits vacant or underutilized, and people are lonely. So we have spaces and we have people that want a place to connect. How do we take those two and put them together? So we created Fabrik. It is a social space for people to come together in real life to find social connection and a space to belong.
That's amazing, and it's so needed, and it's proven that there is a loneliness issue,
Yeah,
and that you know significantly affects people's mental health
yeah,
and just sense of overall wellness and happiness. So it's a huge issue, and then the business side of it and having underutilized spaces is just you're just bleeding money, right? And so
absolutely,
I think back
absolutely.
to our days. What popped into my mind initially was our days at WeWork when we back in the day in
Forgot
Boston,
about that.
before the actual office at our last company together. We
Yeah,
were in a co-working space at WeWork and just having, and we're actually in a quite small office,
yeah,
working together. And we would go out in the common areas and interact with other people in other companies back in the day, and just having that sense of community and checking in face to face.
yeah,
I think very fondly back to those times,
yeah.
and especially, I was in my 20s then. It was I was living in the city, so having that experience at that time in my life, I couldn't imagine if it was, I was just completely isolated. And the pandemic, of course, there were so many people in that situation, and things have shifted where some folks are looking for remote, but then
Yeah.
there's something missing. So how would you respond to the people that have actually gotten accustomed to the remote lifestyle, but
Yeah.
want the option of having those interactions and getting that, the fuel from the community that
Yeah.
you're getting at home?
No, absolutely. And I think that's the thing that we're seeing very much like post-pandemic, right? Like the reality is that the epidemic of loneliness was happening even before the epidemic or before the pandemic.
Right.
The pandemic just obviously made it even worse, right?
Yeah.
The reality is that we have been experiencing a loss of social spaces as well as clubs and communities over the last few decades. There's a very popular book, it got turned into a documentary called Bowling Alone.
Mm,
So if you think of like the 60s, the 70s, they had bowling leagues, like people met up in person. Like
right.
I used to go to my parents' friend's house for dinner all the time. Like
Hmm.
I don't host dinner parties, like I don't bring people together. And the reality is I think that like we're now at a point in time where we know that if we do not come back together in real life and create a place of belonging, which is essentially the opposite of loneliness,
Hmm.
it does have an impact on our mental health and our physical health and our
Yeah.
overall health and well-being. So the impact, the physical impact of loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, which
Yeah.
is
That's
insane.
disturbing.
And when we think about this as a crisis, like this is the biggest crisis, health crisis of our generation. It is kind of equated back to like the 60s when the smoking crisis and like, oh, we got to do something about it. Um, it's in the same level.
It's
So
serious.
it's serious. It's like you have a son, like we have to fix this for
Yes. For
his
the next
benefit.
generation.
Exactly, exactly. So when we think about this and we think about the way in which we are working, whether it's remote, whether it's hybrid, or whether it's return to office, which is happening a lot in our major cities, is that it doesn't have to be like a one size fits all. I think
Hmm.
that like if you think about you're in office, it's this like forced fun, pizza parties, ball games, which we did it. In our last company, it was fun because we were in our 20s.
Yes.
As a adult and perhaps people with like families, like you don't want to spend a Wednesday night in
No.
Boston at a ball game when like you're missing bedtime, right?
Exactly.
So it's like how do you adjust and how do we create space and moments of opportunity where we as employees can still be invested in the work that we do, invested in the companies that we work for, but also being mindful that the companies we need to have them give us options of how
Mm-hmm.
to fill that social wellness kind of pillar or need. So when we think about folks that are remote, it is not, oh, let's get them back to office so we can do this like forced fun, team building social connection. The reality is that if you, Meaghan, feel more social connection in your personal life, it's going to translate into your professional life.
Mm.
And when we think about the impact, the global impact of loneliness, it's a $460 billion problem. It's directly tied to absenteeism and productivity. So if we think about loneliness, and right now, 3 out of 5 people are lonely, and they're seeing that workplace is a big part of that. It's
Mm.
like, what do we do, almost like at the micro level, to start to build in opportunities for social connection to like the fabric of it all, like weave into your daily life,
Mm.
right? So like if you think about um, your physical health, of course, we go to the gym, we go on walks,
Yeah.
and companies are paying for that, right? We have benefits for that. There's incentive programs. Companies even cover gym memberships,
Hmm.
which is fantastic, right? We're prioritizing our physical health. If you think about our emotional health, or I'm sorry, our mental health, that is a newer category, not
Right.
category, but more of it's always been an issue, but now companies are investing in solving and giving options and solutions to solve that problem for their employees to ensure that their employees are taken care of and they're healthy, right?
Yes.
So they cover, whether it's therapists or a stipend, or they offer better health, or they have the Calm app. Like these are all
Mhm.
solutions that exist.
Yes.
What about social wellness and your social health,
Hmm.
which is belonging? And the opposite of that is loneliness. So if we address the loneliness issue and companies are starting to prioritize and invest in social options for their team, what they're going to see is that it has a rippling effect on all other areas, not only their physical health and physical health and their mental health, but also how they show up each day, their productivity levels, their level of engagement. And that can happen whether you're in the office, hybrid, or remote.
Hmm. That makes complete sense, and it's so smart and so true that belonging can actually boost your productivity, and that's what we're focusing on in this conversation today is
Mm-hmm.
why belonging is the new productivity hack. Um, and
Yeah.
I really love what you said about it's really not a one size fits all because all people are
Yeah.
in different situations and have different preferences. Like I was saying, I actually have preferred my remote option over
Yeah.
the past few years, and but I have a family. When I turn off the screen, I go to my son, and
Yeah.
and just people are in different situations. Some people would
Yeah.
prefer that face to face, and because it's different. Maybe you're on Zoom calls all day, back to back, but it's just
Yeah.
digital, and then you turn off and you feel drained, and you don't feel that belonging and fulfillment, like if I was sitting in front of you and speaking and having a conversation. So, thinking about those preferences for different people, I think is really
Yeah.
smart. And I would just like to back up for a minute in terms of your journey to where you are now in this role and
Yeah.
this awesome, exciting venture. What made you, I mean, clearly it makes sense when it comes to the loneliness epidemic and everything we just spoke about.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to you? Because I own person, I work with people that are following their passion and doing something and stepping forward in a bold way. And that's why I wanted to talk to you because you're definitely, you can just tell the way you talk about it. This is something that matters to you. So,
Yeah.
what was it that made you say, yes, this is what I want to focus on and work towards and help people with?
Yeah.
What stood out?
Yeah. So back in 2023, I left my last company, which was an ad tech company. And as you know, majority of my career has been building and scaling companies, which has
Yes.
been so exciting,
And
such a
you're very
lot of
good at it.
experience. And I enjoy it. I love
Mhm.
it. I think that we just kind of get to the point where you kind of stop and think like, okay, I'm spending all this time and energy and priority on my work. How can I think about doing work that like matters?
Mm.
So I looked at, and not that none of that mattered, it's just more of like from a personal perspective, it's through the lens of if all of my like skills and knowledge and expertise is like of value, how can I take that and be a force for good? So it's like
Totally.
literally, I don't have my bracelets on. I actually used to have one like that. It's over there. But anyway, so I thought about that and I'm like, whatever I do next, it has to be a force for good. I have to positively impact society in some way.
Mhm.
Long story short, through the connection of it all, I met my co-founder, Jacqueline. Her and I have been kind of distant friends through a mutual friend, and we've been building startups in parallel. Her in New York, myself in Boston.
Mhm.
We've been building in parallel over time, so it's been really fun talking. I just talked to her and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and she said, "That's funny. I'm actually starting something in the same vein," and we knew that we had
Wow.
different skill sets, which was, and that's also just like the very like the serendipity of it all, right? If
Stars
you
aligned.
exactly like if you tell people what you want or what you're looking for, it's more likely to come in your path, right? So
Yes.
again just like perfect timing, perfect alignment as far as what she was building, what I was looking for. We started Fabrik. Um, and the thing that's really interesting is, you and I have worked together for a few years. We understand what it's like to like take a company to market and not like go to market of it all. And
Yeah.
it very much is like right time in market, right
Yeah.
product, right place. And what I can say is that like the timing of this type of product is like it is right time, right place, right
Yes.
product. People are craving connection, they're craving community. Companies are investing community, they're investing in how to keep their employees happy. Um, at the end of the day, what we're also seeing is that yes, we're in a global epidemic of loneliness. Like it is now.
Hmm.
So if we think about going back to that like the social health, the physical health, the mental health, when we think of social health, like there's not really a solution. There are solutions like in normal play, but as far as a true turnkey, here's a platform that a company can offer their employees
Yes.
to solve that problem of here, this is how I can help you with your social wellness and prioritize your social health. That is really where we believe like Fabrik is that key.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I would
Huge
say fast
opportunity.
forward 5 years, but to be honest with you, it's going to be much quicker than that. Is employers will start to, and we're seeing this right now with benefit providers like Sigma. They are actually providing benefits for social wellness and social health. So, in addition to your physical health and your mental health, and you're going to get benefits for that, we hope that most companies will start to adopt that because they do see that by investing in that, they have better employees, more productive employees, and they're just overall healthy, right? They're healthy because they're happy.
Yes.
Um, and that's the kind of world that we're creating here in the space that we're creating. And it's all through, again, Fabrik and just the idea of if you create a space and a warm and welcoming space where community is affordable and accessible, magic happens. And the
Mm.
magic is just IRL. Like it's
Yes.
incredible that when people walk into our spaces, they almost like instantly smile. And it's because
Yeah.
it feels different. And it feels different because of the people that are there. The people that are there have a deep desire for community, whether it's building community or seeking community. They have a deep desire for social connection. So they're actually going to want to come up to you and ask you, like, what's your name? What are
Yes.
you working on? What are you passionate about? Right? It's not all just like work stuff. It's actually who are you beyond what you do for work, right? As you're, doing an art activity, or you're knitting, or you're doing silent book club, or you're attending a founder panel. Like, these are all moments and opportunities of bringing people together that we see that natural connection and conversation kind of happens organically when you give people a safe space and a place for community to happen.
Yes. Oh, that's so amazing. I want to go to one of these spaces. It seems amazing.
I would love to have you. We have one in Tribeca, one in Dembo. Hopefully get to Boston at some point, which is obviously closer
Yeah.
for us. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. And the members and non-members, again, you can also come into Fabric when you're not a member. They're incredible people.
That's so cool. And I mean, what stands out is, like you were saying before, you're not forcing like work networking and work speak in a
Yeah,
forced event that someone actually doesn't want to be at. You're giving options for people to feel like they can genuinely connect, find something that's, a true commonality
yeah,
between two humans or a group of humans. So it's genuine and like you said, it makes people feel comfortable and just seeing it seems like when someone walks in, you can see it on their face. They're comfortable, they're happy, it's refreshing. So
yeah.
I'm wondering if there have been any like moments or scenarios that stood out or any quotes from folks that you were like, wow, this really is needed and this really is already impacting people.
Yeah, I get to Fabric about once or twice a month for about a week at a time. So a lot of our members think I live there, but I don't, which is kind of funny.
It's actually my house.
Yeah, exactly. Um, the amount of people that come up to me and just like tell me how much Fabric has impacted their life. People say like Fabric has changed my life. I have found my purpose. I feel
Wow.
like I found my footing again. I feel like I've almost been like reinvigorated to build, whether it's a business, a community. It's kind of interesting as almost like the before and after of
Yeah.
Fabric.
Yeah.
And we are looking to like kind of measure that impact of like, do people feel more connected? Are they feeling more of a sense of belonging because of being part of Fabric? And we are seeing that the impact of that is yes, it's positively impacting it, which is fantastic. We've heard this a few times. I think it's worth mentioning is some folks say Fabric feels like college, where there's so many possibilities. And I kind of love that because it is. It's almost like that newness, like when you go to college and it's like new friends, new activities, like you can
Yeah.
be anyone.
Exciting.
It's so exciting. And like that's what we find is that the people that you meet are going to be interesting. We have over 165 communities that call Fabric home. So if you're interested in anything, there's likely a community or club at Fabric. And if there's not, we give you the platform to build that and bring people together around that shared interest, that same passion. And you can essentially like bring people together. And then after doing that over time, it kind of builds a community. I
Yeah.
think of the days when we worked together. Remember like D&D nights on Wednesday?
Oh yeah.
But like I wasn't a D&D person, but like our team members were, and it was cool because what was happening at the time is like they got together and they built this little like mini community within our company around a
Mhm.
shared passion. And
Yes.
then for the folks like myself, it's like I don't like working out alone. It's like, oh, let's go to, I think you and I probably did like spin classes and stuff together.
Yeah.
Like, let's go work out together. So
Right.
it is almost too of like those moments where this can happen also just within your company when you give people an opportunity to just be creative too.
And that's just so cool that, like you said, this hasn't really existed in the capacity that you're working towards. And um, I like that in these spaces you're facilitating and giving that option, and then it's up to the individual to further that community and build from there. And it seems like that's an invigorating spark and moment to actually want to build from
Yeah.
and keep up those connections. So that's really
Yeah.
cool that you can be that facilitator.
Yeah.
And sorry, I was just gonna
No, go for
ask,
it.
um, And you mentioned it feels like college, and actually this morning I like to listen to Mel Robbins. I don't know if you're a
Yeah, yeah,
fan.
yeah.
Her Let Them theory is very popular, and she actually was. I was just listening to her speak about adult relationships and
Mm,
friendships, and how after something like you leave high school, you leave college, and then people disperse and they don't live nearby.
yeah.
So it's a challenge for a lot of people to actually keep up those adult friendships. Even at work, you may talk to your coworkers all the time, but you're in different stages of life, so
Yeah.
you don't always hang out in real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like a kind of a college type atmosphere to, you know, get that type of friendship possible, and the proximity just makes it easier to have that feeling again where there's that belonging, and then from there you're more productive, which is
Yeah.
just great for companies.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I even think of, you said in the beginning, like you and I, we built our first company out of WeWork, and
Yeah.
like WeWork 2023, 20, I'm sorry, 2013, 2014 version, we got excited to go there because there were other people doing what we did, which is they
Yes.
were putting in
You feel
long
the
hours.
energy.
Exactly. They were putting in long hours. Everyone, it was that like, it was like, the hustle culture kind of era, if you will, where everyone was like, just like heads down, crushing it, like building, like
Yeah.
building the next big thing. And like, it was exciting when we did that alongside other people, right?
Hmm.
Now, the reality is that thankfully we're not in hustle culture anymore. Like we all
Yes.
burned out and like, ah, that wasn't actually good. We can't keep doing that.
It
That's
was
not
actually
sustainable.
exhausting, but yeah.
That's actually, I'm actually older. I can't do that anymore.
Right.
But what we found is that like, still like that sameness of like being around other people doing similar things, whether it's building a community or even just like working next to someone. Like you said about
Hmm.
working remote, go to a coffee shop. Like
Yeah,
just like doing an activity next to someone increases your own productivity, right?
it's true.
So there is that. What we see at Fabric too is that there's this natural spark that happens and this like inspiration that happens when other folks are able to watch and see what's possible to build a community or bring people together. And this is not just our own Fabric members, these are companies that their teams become Fabric members. We give them the space and the place to host. And all of a sudden, these community builders and club builders are being created within these own companies that without Fabric, they didn't know that that was a possibility.
Right.
So again, we give them the structure and the platform to be able to build. Um, so it's pretty incredible. I there's a couple companies that have actually have been birthed out of Fabric just by having people together. They found business partners. They have natural
Wow.
collaborators. So it's
So
been really
cool.
fun, kind of again, just like those natural connections that happen and the opportunities that stem from them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I can just imagine there's the possibilities are endless when people come together.
Absolutely.
And so I know you were kind of talking about how the process works when a company starts using Fabric, but can you kind of talk maybe end to end, if
Yeah.
possible, about, the type of leader that actually understands the value in this
Yeah.
to implementation and kind of keeping up the health check of this type of program?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, what I would say is the companies that right now that we work with that are doing this and interested in investing in this type of solution for their employees, they tend to be number one, employee centric businesses. So,
Hmm.
these are very well known software companies, typically, not just typically, but that's right now kind of what we have, who see that they need to prioritize their employees' health, whether
Yes.
it's their, again, physical, mental, social. And they're looking at that from a like full, their whole selves. So companies who are employee centric, a lot of companies that already have this on their radar. I literally had a very well known company that you and I have worked with before come to me and say, verbatim, what they were looking for is like textbook our value proposition at Fabric. And like when you have an inbound like that gets like is looking for what you've built and they're telling you, it is like the natural fit just happens
Yeah, it's
organically, right?
perfect.
It's perfect, but it also goes back to like it reinforces the need that currently exists like
Yeah.
in
People
the
want
market, like
this.
in the
People
current
need it.
state. Yes, exactly. So a lot of companies are Either they're local to New York, so they're in office buildings, but they want to be able to offer a community solution and a space for connection with the diversity of programming for their employees. So instead of them spending a lot of time and money to almost try to create all of this programming for all of their employees, what they do is they partner with Fabrik and they give their employees Fabrik memberships so that they're able to kind of come and go and almost like choose your own adventure, right? Like Meaghan, if I think you're interested in, you like reading, like so do I. Like maybe you and I go to Reading Rhythms, which is a global silent book club where we all just show up and read our own books and then we talk about it.
Cool.
They're a member of Fabrik. So we have some companies who obviously are within proximity to Fabrik. We have other folks that they have dispersed teams. So they do not have an office. But in New York City, they have like 450 employees that they're trying to create that sense of belonging and togetherness and opportunities for them to build connection and community. They partner with Fabrik. Fabrik now becomes their IRL home for connection, both amongst their team members. So they all kind of come in on certain days together. They get to like work together, attend a gathering together. But then they also have, again, that programming opportunity too. If they want to stay that night and attend Girls Who Meet and they're doing candle making, or they're going to be staying after and learning about the power of AI and how it can impact marketing operations. So it really kind of runs the gamut. So typically it's companies that are in those two kind of camps, whether they have remote teams in proximity to New York currently, because that's where we are, or folks who are already employee-centric, who have an office in New York, but want a solution for that. How do I provide community and social connection and social wellness solutions at scale for my team?
Right.
And then from an implementation standpoint, we come in, everyone gets Fabrik memberships, and then essentially what it does is it allows them to, and depending upon their access tier, they can come in and like socially co-work, they can attend gatherings, they can meet up. It essentially becomes their like space to kind of come and go as they please. And then on the back end, what we are doing for these companies is we're actually able to show the data. So I mentioned in the beginning that we are tracking the impact. So we created our own survey. It's called the Connection and Belonging Index, the CBI.
Nice.
It is a way for us to measure the impact of Fabrik in that before and after. So we're able to give them that data showing the positive impact of their team after becoming a Fabrik member and having Fabrik be part of that, part of their daily lives, if you will. But then we're also able to share more kind of granular data on perhaps what types of gatherings their employees are actually more interested in, if they have a high demand for a type of topic or content. So that really also is just like further information around shared interests, personal interests that a company might not have access to. And from that information, we're able to do like really cool, creative things as almost like one-offs for them as well. So
That's really cool. That's what I was actually going to ask is how do you determine what activities you offer? Is it kind of is it company to company or industry to industry, or is it based on this data that you're getting kind of what the needs are, what the biggest interests are?
yeah, so we at Fabrik, we only program about 10% of our programming. We host over 60 gatherings per month at Fabrik, and majority of them are put on by our community builders. So 165 communities call Fabrik home. So these are, again, clubs, communities around any kind of shared interest. And essentially, they're always looking for opportunities to grow their communities, grow their clubs. So Fabrik is a way of doing that. So most of that, again, is community led and member led, and that's important because, you know, if it was up to me, like they probably wouldn't like what I am interested in. So it really, again, like just it makes Fabrik the platform that people can just create off of it.
Yeah, that's great because it gives it's community led and run.
Yeah.
It's like you have the control of how you want to interact, what you want to partake in. It gives that kind of sense of freedom
Yeah.
for people or employees or however you're engaging with Fabrik.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of like, it's not a one size fits all.
Yes.
So how can we have an opportunity of, again, like choosing your own adventure and giving companies and employees and like people just the flexibility and like the one space to come and have access to all of those opportunities. And the
Mhm.
reality is the types of people you're going to meet at all of these events are also very different. So, I mean, we have over 4,000 people that walk through the doors of Fabrik, and most of them are not members. And that's because we believe that community should be affordable and accessible.
Yes.
So, again, it's just the people that you meet, interesting, the gatherings you attend, interesting, the things you can learn, interesting. And it really goes back to like just the shared values of Fabrik and the people that come to Fabrik is they have a deep focus on wanting to connect, wanting to build community, and they're just like curious. They're intellectually curious.
Those are really strong shared interests alone, and not to mention, the other activities and engagement opportunities you provide. So just wanting that and choosing to, you know, um, make that happen and drive
Yeah,
it forward is huge and a way to bring people together just in a natural way. And I think it shows that because I know we're living in a tough time. A lot of people are struggling with either their emotional health, mental health, physical health, all of it.
yeah,
Um, and I have seen companies clearly understanding that and making different attempts at kind of meeting people where they need to
yeah,
be and being helpful. But it seems like this is actually the companies that invest are they truly understand that this social aspect is necessary for health and wellness, and it's not just a checkbox of saying, we're giving you a mental health option we're posting about on social media. It's like
yeah,
they actually understand it's not just a checkbox.
yeah.
Um, so I think that's really interesting and stands out. And I want to bring it back to you personally because you're obviously so passionate about this and you're excited. I can tell like this lights you up, which is awesome.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
and so the fact that there was this need, and as a marketer and just a go-to-market expert, you
Yeah.
understood that, and it was clear. But is there anything that you felt like did you have that desire for more connection and belonging? I know you wanted to do good in the world, and you're
Mm-hmm.
definitely doing that. But how does this mission kind of connect with you on a personal level?
Yeah, great question. The thing that I didn't know at the time is, we're building IRL, like we're building in person.
Yeah.
I don't live in New York, which is where our
Right.
places are.
Right.
So I now live in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, hour north of Boston, and and I moved here about a year ago, and for the last 2 years I've been building IRL community and a platform for IRL community to flourish, and then I come back here and I don't have community, I don't have
Mhm.
connection, but I'm so busy building essentially for other people, which has been again lights me up, so joyful. But then it's almost a matter of like, wait a second, am I doing what I preach and what I'm building?
Yeah.
So it's really from a personal level. Of course, I'm at Fabrik. I get all that fulfillment. And that's the fun part about also having a B2C type of business as well, which you and I haven't when we worked together, like it was all B2B.
Right.
But in B2C, it's like our members are like friends of mine now. Like
I
I'm
love it.
so excited to see them. I'm so excited to catch up. Like it's, hugging everyone, and that's fantastic. But like I only get that when I'm there.
Mm.
So it's really forced me to almost like do inventory of my own personal life and think about, okay, what am I doing to build community at my local level or plug into community or find connection and find social connection, and not just these like flyby friendships, but more like that deep connection on like a personal level, right? So I've
Mhm.
been very fortunate. There is a community up here. It's there. I mean, I always say like if we were in New York, this is exactly what would be at Fabrik. It used to be called Well Lived Women. They have since rebranded to Wild Ivory, and it is a local women's community for the
Nice.
Seacoast. Actually, you're not too far, so you should probably come with
Cool.
me sometime. It's so
I
cool.
definitely want to.
It's
I've been
awesome.
looking into things like that, so this is perfect.
Yes, it's awesome. And it's a community, and they host monthly meetups and gatherings all around the experiences. And it's all through the lens of like, as women, like we oftentimes don't prioritize ourselves. So it's an opportunity, at least on a monthly basis, to prioritize social connection, coming together in real life, and doing something fun together. So I had that. I've been part of that for a while. I've been plugging into them more intently because I noticed something's going on. I'm like, oh, I'm lonely. I need to go find connection.
Yes.
And I had a really cool opportunity last Monday. We did a surfing event. And I remember
Cool.
that day, was just going about my day, but I just like felt like kind of off. And it's so interesting that night went surfing. So of course, like being around people in connection and community, had fantastic conversations, met some people that I haven't met before, got a chance to catch up with folks who I am friends with, and also just be in nature, like be in the water, right? In the middle
Yes.
of summer.
Hmm.
The amount of joy that I got out of that and fulfillment, I didn't expect until the next day. Well, I woke up, I felt like a new person. Like
Oof.
you go back to productivity, I felt even more energized, more engaged, more like just riled up to just do life in a
You're
way, whether it's,
happier.
yeah, I'm happier. So it just goes back to like, that is a great example of the before and after of like when you
Yes.
are in connection with other people, there's an impact. Like you feel it, you see it.
Yeah, and that's so I have chills like with that story. That's so great. And it's with being with people and having that shared experience.
Yeah,
And that group, it seems like it's all based around that different shared experiences, like something like surfing, where you're actually in nature. And I was really stressed out the other day, and was like spiraling in my head. And I took a break and actually went to the beach because I live right near the
yeah,
water, like you. And just like an hour at the beach, I felt just totally calmer, and like it was like I was a different person, and I could
yeah,
approach my day totally differently. So I can completely relate to that. And yeah, I think just making the time to prioritize, because you're a driven person, a productive person, but prioritizing those moments where you're connected, you're experiencing something new, you're putting
yeah,
yourself in a fresh situation that can change you and
yeah.
actually fulfill you in a different way. That's what people need to keep pushing forward and doing big things. And it seems like you totally understand that. And so I actually have one more question for you. And
Yeah.
thank you. This has been amazing chat with
It's
you.
so
And
fun. Thank you.
but you are now in a phase of your career and your life where you're clearly energized. You're working towards something you believe in, and um, it's not just a job, right? It's more than that. So for someone that maybe feels like they're considering something new, they're not sure what to do, what are maybe like 2 to 3 tips you'd give them to understand what really matters to them and to just go for it?
Yeah. Um, a great question. I would say, and I've done this a few times in my career where I've taken these like pauses, if you will.
Hmm.
Um, and what has helped me is I think about number one, like what are my priorities and almost like how do I want to spend my days
Yeah,
from a personal level and a professional level. And I kind of put that down. And then I need an action plan. I need a hit list of what are
me
the
too.
just 5 things I can do. 3 things, just 5 things, 3 to 5 things I can do. So it's number one, identifying like what does an ideal day look like to you and an ideal kind of work environment. For me, it's always autonomy. Like I need autonomy with most everything I do professionally. And of course, that tends to lead to entrepreneurship, which
Yes.
I enjoy. I come from a generations of entrepreneurs, so it's like probably in my blood.
Yep.
Um, but then it's also a matter of just trying things on, like have conversations, learn something new. The fact that I went to my now co-founder, I actually just was going back to Pennsylvania, stopped by in Jersey where she lives. She had a baby at the time, 3 months old. I'm like, I'm gonna come say hi and meet your baby. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, come on by. But again, like those like little actions of just like connecting with people.
Hmm.
It's kind of crazy like what can happen when you
Hmm.
just have a conversation and are vulnerable to, again, say, here's what I'm looking for, here's what I'm thinking. I think so oftentimes people like, you feel like your ideas maybe aren't big enough, aren't valid, seem crazy. Well, the reality is like, give them a space to like breathe, Like
Yeah.
sometimes a lot of people say like, oh, don't tell people because they don't want you. A lot of times people like squash the idea, and I think that also just goes back to like the type of people you tell, right?
Right.
Like you are a very like positive, uplifting, but also like critic through the lens of helpfulness, if you will. So like you would be someone that like I think myself and like others can come to and say, here's my idea, what do you think? Or here's what
Yes.
lights me up. I would love your feedback. And you would give them honest feedback, productive feedback, and something that they can actually like tangibly like do with it, right?
Yes.
So I think it's also a matter of like if you are going to again build that punch list of what are the actions I can take, and like if I do want to start talking to people about it, but just be really intentional around the people that you choose to share that idea, and just
Mhm.
making sure that you're bringing in folks that add to that idea versus kind of dim the light, if you will. um,
Yeah, that's great advice. And actually, I can completely relate to that because I have been doing that myself with own person. And like you're someone that I look to for support. You've always been there for, when I'm searching for jobs, when I am making a shift, supporting me in this way on the podcast. So people like you who have been there throughout my career and people in my network that I trust, there are a group of people that have already given me really great feedback that I've listened to, even tried,
yeah.
thought about, sat with, had marinating.
Hmm.
That's huge. So, and I like that you said like kind of pick and choose because ultimately it's your choice. These are your decisions and
Yeah.
your gut feelings.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to get other perspectives of trusted advisors and friends, but if something doesn't sit right, you don't, it's your choice, it's
Yeah.
your project, it's your baby.
Yeah.
So I think that's really great advice because
Yeah.
I've been living it too. And like you said, just keep practicing what you're preaching and, your involvement in the connectivity, and that allows you to better understand the need and how to solve the problem too, because you're living it. So I think
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and my favorite advice that I was given by one of my mentors, I was just on her podcast a few weeks ago, is like nothing is permanent. So like
Yes.
just try it on. You're gonna learn a
Try
lot.
it. You can
You're
always
gonna have
evolve.
fun, and it doesn't have to last forever. That's okay.
Yes. Just try things
It's a
and play
chap.
and
Exactly.
see what
It's a
happens.
chapter. It's a chapter.
It's
It'll
a
likely lead to
chapter.
something else, like it always does.
Exactly. Well, thus is life. I love it.
Exactly. We only understand it in reverse, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation, and I'm just so happy and excited for what you're working on. It's just great to see it, and I would seriously love to see one of the spaces sometime. If I'm in
Yes.
New York or when it eventually comes to Boston, I'm sure it will. So,
Absolutely. I'd love that. Thank you again for having me on. Again, like it's been such a pleasure like watching you on your professional journey and also your personal journey, and just
thank you.
I like watching you do this and just how much like joy it brings you, and just again, you are such an empath by nature. Like that is who you are. And the
Yes.
fact that you're able to give that unique skill as a space and place for people to step into, that's unique to you. That not everyone can do that.
Thank you.
And it's just so incredible to kind of watch you do your thing.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot because you actually know me really well, and from day one, I think you saw
Yeah,
that, and so I'm happy to bring that gift out, and that's what I'm trying for. So
I
thanks for
love
seeing
that.
me.
Absolutely, oh, always, absolutely. But it's also a matter of like you being your true, authentic self,
Yes,
and
yes.
you've never been afraid of doing that. And I think that is always like your unique differentiator that like most people do not do.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
same to you, and again, thank you for being on, and we'll talk
Yeah,
soon.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay,
All right,
bye.
bye.